is the post that the people you're comparing yourself to, if they saw it, would be like, how can I compete with that? We always elevate the other people because we see their platform and not the person. When there are other people looking at you saying, dang, if this person ever gets it together, she's gonna have a huge platform.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Aspire Higher with Charles and Yvana. I'm so excited this week. We have someone awesome.
We always have awesome people
here. Samantha Schultz. First and foremost, this woman right here. Let's just talk about her. Let's just talk about her. She is a modern pentathlete. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Tell me.
She wears modern apparel when she does her exercises and athleticism.
I don't even know where to go with that one. But no, she does multiple events.
She does multiple events.
She made it to the Olympics. She made it to the Pan Am Games. This woman right here. No.
She medaled.
She medaled.
Yeah.
Gold, silver medals. Like this woman is decorated. And I'm so excited because not only is her journey beyond athletics, she also pours into people in her business with fitness, Pilates. Like she is just transforming lives all day long.
Everywhere. But wait, and we have to salute her too because she is a
First
sergeant.
and foremost, she's a
in the
sergeant.
U.S. Army.
In the U.S.
Reserve.
Army.
I'm sorry, I got really excited.
Relax?
I'm so hyped. I mean, this is a superstar.
Yes, she's a superstar. So everyone just welcome Sammy. Sammy, we're so grateful to have you here. How do you feel? How's your day going?
It's going great. I love your guys' energy. I'm so happy to be here. It's an honor to be here with you guys. Thanks for talking me up. I mean, oh my gosh.
If you need us, we'll be at the next meeting,
absolutely.
At the next conference for you. Yep.
Yeah.
And we see her apparel. Let's just point that out real quick.
You can't not see the American
Olympic logo.
Come on.
Made it.
They don't just give those away.
Oh, no. You got to earn that.
Yeah, you earn those.
I would sleep in that every day.
Stripes.
Every day. Do you sleep in that every day?
Even if it's hot, it'd be 90 degrees at night. She's sleeping in the American jacket. Do you do that? Do you sleep in your Olympic jacket?
No, but we did get some of the Skims at the Olympics.
Oh, you got Skims?
So we did get some of those, and I have a t-shirt, and I wear that. But I don't know how much longer it's going to last. It's wearing out.
Hanging on threads.
That's awesome. Well, anyway.
Yeah, well, first, tell our audience a little bit about yourself if you want to. And also, was that your dream, like the Olympics?
Yes.
Was that what you wanted to do forever?
So a little bit about me. I grew up in Colorado, so it was just my family is very outdoorsy. I was on skis the day before I was 2.
Wow.
I was hunting with my family. We lived across the street from a pool, so I was in the water swimming. Wow. It was just a part of our life. Like we did bike rides all the time. I played soccer, tennis. I just was used to doing a lot of different sports. And so like that kind of, I always loved watching the Olympics as a little girl, watching summer and winter. But I never felt like I really excelled, I guess, a whole lot in one sport over another.
Okay.
But I liked the fact that I was so diverse and I could do so many different things. I guess it kept me out of trouble, and that definitely was good for my parents, but kept them busy with all the sports that I did. Sure. And just as I got older, I started to get into track and cross country, which I absolutely loved. That was my favorite part about soccer, was getting to run up and down the field, playing midfield, chasing after the ball. So my mom was like, all right, let's sign you up for cross country and track. And that was probably one of the best things she ever did for me. Wow. The people I met, getting more into running. And then I was doing swim team on top of that. I was riding horses. I was skiing. I was just doing a lot of different things, but I never really felt like, I guess I was super great at one sport. And I was like, okay, the Olympics were never going to happen.
Right.
That's like a far-fetched dream. I'll go to college and just go run potentially. But that's when I learned about the sport of pentathlon, was my senior year of high school. And I was like, wait, there's a sport that, like, other than triathlon. I was like, okay, I know triathlon, but I was like, I have fencing, swimming, horseback riding, running, and shooting. I said, I know how to do all of those except fencing. So I was like, well, what's another sport to learn? And the Olympic Training Center was in Colorado Springs. I was in Denver, Littleton area.
Okay.
So I went and did my first training camp, got my first taste of it. And I was not by any means great at fencing. That definitely, I was like, wow, you have to stab other people. Like,
I mean, you can put it that way.
I mean, when you put it that way, but I mean, it just was I was always kind of like I have a sweet demeanor. I'm not very aggressive. And so that definitely was a different sport for me.
Interesting.
But I think the challenge of it and knowing that there's so many different aspects of this sport and it challenges you mentally and physically. I still got to go ride horses and I still got to run. I got to shoot. I got to do all the things that I love to do and something that kind of like just meshed all together. So that definitely kind of threw a wrench in the plans of going to college, but I ended up just doing night classes at UCCS and moved to Colorado Springs to start training with the team here. And I mean, the rest is kind of, at least that's kind of how I just got into it. So being an Olympian was never really on the table, or at least I didn't really learn about the sport until I was 18.
Wow. That's incredible. I love everything you said because there are so many things that I can draw from that. I'm always listening to people and I'm trying to put the connections between their life story and the story that was written for them. Yeah. You said you grew up doing everything except fencing.
It's crazy.
And you hadn't even gone into that. We hadn't even gone into that, but this is a great point to make. There are things that people are already doing that they haven't respected enough to know is a part of their destiny.
Yeah.
And maybe like you, it's not about having the vision of the dream, but it's just having the consistency of persistency. You just kept doing the things you love.
That's true.
And the dream manifested itself to you. It's almost like it introduced itself to you.
Right.
But you were ready.
She was ready.
That's
She was
incredible.
ready. And she took her shot.
Come on. Well, that was our show, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for listening.
Fastest podcast in the West.
Well, we're in the East. Oh, gosh. That's incredible. All right. Well, tell us then, obviously, what were some of the things that drove you to say, I want to then do this Olympic thing, right? You started 18 years old when it really kind of came to your mind. What made you say, I really can do this? Like, I really can be this.
Right. I mean, like I said, the first couple of times I competed or I guess kind of went to training camps, I really felt out of my element. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I stuck around because it was like I was around all these elite athletes that have been doing this for years. Like going to the Olympic Training Center, you were thrown in with people who are super serious about this. And like I was very serious. I really wanted to make it happen. I wanted to improve. I wanted to get better. But I also, that came with, I'm trying to keep up with all these athletes that have been training this way for I don't know how many years, a lot longer than me. So I had a lot of injuries when I first started, a lot of overuse injuries. Awesome. I had to earn a lot of the respect from those teammates. And when I went to my first international competition, I got my butt kicked. It was, I ran as hard as I could. Let's just say the run was great. My swim was great, but everything else, like it was very humbling. And maybe that had to happen because it was like, okay, maybe I should just give up and go to college and just go run. Maybe you're just not cut out for this. But there was like something deeper inside me that was just like, I want to try this. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe I'll try it for another year. I'll see where I can improve. And it was like, if I can just, and that was how it was in high school too. I had every year I progressively got better because I just worked harder and harder and harder. So it's like, okay, I can't just give up now. I don't think that was ever in my, like, growing up. If we didn't like a sport, my parents were like, okay, you just got to finish out the season and then you can make a decision if you want to be done or not. And so I think that was ingrained in me when I was younger. Like you said, it just kind of was how I was built. Like, you have to keep trying and keep putting that effort in. And I really just, the challenge of the sport, but also the fact that it's like, I don't have to go run 3 times a day or 2 times a day. I get to run and swim and ride horses and challenge myself with shooting and fencing and in the gym. So it was a lot, but it was just a lot of variety, which I think kept me going after more. And even despite injuries and setbacks, it's like, for some reason, I just like kept pursuing it because I kept seeing little increments.
That's right, girl.
That's right. And you know this quote. It's by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and It says, what lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared to what lies within us. That's one of her quotes that she loves. And the funny thing about that is what lied inside of you was something that was always great. It was never going to quit. It was always going to be resilient. Even from a little girl, you were trained for excellence and you were trained for dominance. So the injuries that tried to blindside you or hinder you, those were things temporarily to keep you in that humble state, because before exaltation is always humility, always. So I'm really proud of you, because somebody else would have quit. Let's be real about it.
Well, and the truth of the matter is like she said, she thought of it herself.
Yeah.
But you didn't quit.
That's right.
And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I'm taking away from her story, from your story, is you were saying you saw those incremental changes happen over time.
That's right.
But those were the reward that you were seeking.
Right.
Man, I look at business leaders, I look at athletes all the time, and we're all seeing the big jumps, the LeBron James, the past, Jackie Joyner-Kersee. You want to see these big, huge leaps and feats.
Right.
But it's those little increments, that 0.01 better than yesterday, that adds up over time.
Right.
And you have no idea how far that can take you.
That's right.
But you stuck with it. If there's someone listening right now and you had to take that part of your story and encourage them and tell them to not quit,
right,
to hang on, how would you tell them?
I would just say I always kind of talk about perspective. When you're in the moment, it always seems like it's the worst possible thing. Like like something happens or a workout goes poorly and you're like, oh gosh, nothing's going good. And it's like, if you can take a breath and kind of remove yourself from that and kind of be like, okay, it's one workout out of how many I have in a week. Kind of like almost separate yourself from those feelings and just say, okay, I'm upset or this didn't go well, but this is one tiny snippet in my story. This is one small part. And it's I wish I would have been able to do this more, because I feel like I just made myself so stressed out about every little thing. And it really, looking back, it's like I needed to enjoy that journey more. I needed to enjoy those competitions more. And I think that would have taken some of the pressure off. So if you can kind of separate yourself and trust in that training, trust in yourself. Because if you don't trust in that, and like asking your coaches too, I think it's okay to ask your coach, why are you having me do this? What's the purpose of this? And you don't want to make it in a way of like you're questioning their judgment.
Correct.
You're asking them to learn about what you're doing to make you a better athlete, to make sure that that's what you need as an athlete. So you're almost being an advocate for yourself as well.
Wow. How long did it take you to become an advocate for yourself?
That's a great question.
I honestly, it might have been joining the military. I think, which we can get into that story, but I really do think, so let's see, 2016, I was the alternate for the Rio Olympic team. And a lot of my teammates were a part of the World Class Athlete Program, which is a unit in the U.S. Army that supports athletes that are training and trying to qualify for the Olympics. They utilize us also for recruiting, going out to other units throughout the United States to help train other soldiers as well with mental techniques, running, any kinds of like fitness, because like that's a big part of being in the military is your physical fitness, mental and physical. So a lot of my teammates were in the WCAT program, and they had been trying to recruit me before Rio, but you still have to go off to basic training, off to your job training, which is at minimum 6 months. Which taking 6 months off of training,
you could forget it.
It's a long time, and you're in boot camp, so you're really not able to go train the way you want to, go do what you want to. You're under control of someone else. So when I made the decision after Rio that I wanted to keep going another 4 years to try and go to Tokyo, I was like, I'm going to do this with the Army. I'm going to do this with the military. And so I signed on the dotted line and went off to basic training in August of 2017. And then I came back right before the holidays, right before Christmas.
Wow.
And that next season, I think I was like competing by January. So it all happened really quick.
That is very quick.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and I was in a unit that they took their PT very seriously. So I guess
great.
It was a good thing and a bad thing. But at least they had us staying active. But I think getting out of the military, being a female in the military,
Yeah. Come on.
owning my own, coming out of that, and just like saying, this is what I need as an athlete. I have been through an Olympic cycle. I've been through 2 Olympic cycles.
Right.
This is what I feel like I need as an athlete, and learning how to try and speak up. But I mean, that took a lot of practice, and I don't feel like I ever really did that great of a job until I could kind of see on the other side. Now I'm like, oh, I should have done that differently. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. All
Yes,
these,
of
all these
course.
We
things.
always feel that. Right. Wow. First, that's intense.
That is intense. And people don't think about it. You're already an Olympic level athlete and you're like, oh, now I'm going to go to boot camp.
And how hard was boot camp?
It was extremely difficult. I thought it was very hard. I think part of it though is like you have no control over anything. And that's the biggest thing as I think as a female too. I mean, speaking for me, I like to have control over my schedule.
No, you're right. You're probably
what I
speaking
eat.
for most females, I would think.
Careful.
I know. You know how
Like,
many
I don't
comments you're
start.
going to get from that?
Sammy, keep going.
So I think that was the hardest thing, and it's just like they kind of really have to break you down to build you
Yeah,
up the
of
way that they want to
Correct.
build that team. And a lot of, I mean, I think because I was so good at PT and I just, any opportunity I had to run, I was just like, yes, I was so excited. And so I would just go hard every time. And I think a lot of girls hated me for it, and some of the men too. And so I ultimately had a target on my back because they're like, oh, she's good at PT. They just like her. And it's like, I'll help you. I'll
Right,
help
that's
you
right.
become better.
Come on.
Because you're my teammate, essentially. You're my battle buddy. You're my other soldier. If we can make each other stronger, like if one of us falls behind in a ruck march, we both need to be able to get through it. And if you're not strong, like, and so I think kind of helping them learn that brought out a strong leadership skill in me that I didn't realize that I had. So it really kind of allowed that to come up, and for me to help other people with their fitness journey, with their mental journey, because we're all struggling. We're all missing our
Yes.
families.
Correct.
We're all sleep deprived. You're all in that same boat.
Yes.
And so learning how to come together and work through it. I mean, there was definitely times there when I was like, oh my gosh, why did I sign up for this? I want to go home.
I think that's
My
everything.
nice, warm,
All the
comfy
time.
bed and
Yep.
food.
I remember those times even when I trained. I don't know if my wife told you, I used to be a competitive athlete as well. I competed at Ole Miss, and I'll never forget, I still tell people this story. There were plenty of times where I'm running around the track and I'm saying to myself, God, is this really what I want to do? Do I really want to keep doing this? I mean, every time I'm taking a step, I'm like, one more step.
Yep.
But I don't know if I want to take any more steps after this. And you push through that. But I wanted to commend something that you said and also draw out of it, because you talked about how people would look at you because you were performing. I think this is interesting. You were performing to your capacity. You had a mindset of an athlete. I want to maximize my potential.
That's right.
But as you were maximizing your potential, other people saw it as a problem.
Potential problem.
We talk about that in our book. It's called Potential Problems, because sometimes the thing that makes you great is the thing that makes the problems in your life and creates those opportunities, whether it be jealousy or somebody rejecting you or disrespecting you, whatever it is. So I love that. I want you to speak to it in a second, but there's another piece of it. You also said, I always was in the frame of mind of wanting to help. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for us.
Right.
And I want to help you become better if you, and I'm going to say this respectfully, would just humble yourself and ask for help.
That's right. That's right.
I'm not here just trying to dominate. We
Right,
all are trying to dominate.
Right.
And at least that's what I thought we were all here for.
That's
So
right.
what are your thoughts on that? Because that's a very powerful key concept that you just spoke about.
Yeah.
And I think you bring up a great point of how sometimes some of these skills as an athlete can be also detrimental. It can be a pro and a con, because you're like, oh my gosh, I work so hard. And but then also it's like sometimes you don't know how to let off that throttle too. So you're always in that like go mode. And I think sometimes that can rub people the wrong way, or they're like, oh my gosh, you just, you're trying to get attention. It's like, that's not really
At
like,
all.
I see a goal and I want to achieve it. I think that can definitely, people all have different personality types,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
learning that we all have different ways that we achieve something. Some people need to be held accountable by someone else.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
That's true.
Some people are going to question everything. Some people are going to rebel against it. And so I
Right.
think kind of knowing and understanding those people you work around with, like whether that's a job, your teammates, people you coach, it's, you kind of have to understand them. And I'm learning that now as I'm in personal training and coaching, and it's like everyone learns a different way.
Absolutely.
And I think as an athlete, sometimes I was lumped into, we all are the same people. And it's like, no, it should have been separated. It should have been a little bit more different. And for me specifically on who I was, I think I went down kind of a whole rabbit hole on that. But I think it's just like, even as athletes, we're kind of identified as these people that want to work hard. We're all still a little bit different in that sense too.
Absolutely.
So true. But I love how when you were going through at camp, you understood something about greatness. The greatest leaders will always reach out and reach down and want to help propel others forward to accomplish one goal together.
That's right.
I think that's brilliant because you could have been selfish. You could have said, hey, I'm an Olympic level athlete, went twice. Like, I'm here to dominate, you know, but you didn't. You were able to draw in on that girl, that one that always wanted to see others succeed and to help. And then who knew that when you got out of there, that your goal was going to be to help others in fitness, weight loss journey, Pilates. Like, you are literally transcending your own image into helping others to thrive. That is huge. And that's a great leader. Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
It's not just a great leader, but that's something that we want to talk about because someone listening right now is going to take these words of encouragement from you.
Right.
And so I want to kind of shoot this your way and you give whatever you want to from it. But that very same thing, you had to transcend the image that you had of yourself because athletics wasn't going to last forever.
That's right.
Now, the memories do.
Right.
But the reality of our life is we have to constantly evolve and progress. So I want to hear you talk about that.
Yeah.
What was that process like first? And then second, what drove your aspirations? Do you see it as though you're setting higher aspirations for yourself by helping others or not?
So I originally, after the Tokyo Olympics, I didn't really want to retire. Like coming off of the Olympics, I was like, maybe I could. It's only another 3 years. Like you're riding that high of just being at the biggest stage. And you're like, I finally made it here. But I didn't feel like I accomplished enough. I still wanted to do more.
Right.
And even though that's like one of the biggest stages, there was a part of me, I was like, I feel like I don't know if I let myself down. I let my family down. I let Team USA down, the Army down by not doing better. And it's like, it's terrible that I came back with that feeling because I did accomplish. I was the only U.S. female that qualified. I finished 21st and I had, it's just like I have to look at the positive things that happened. I trained almost completely alone for that entire year leading up to the
People
Olympics.
don't understand how tough
I
that
could
is.
hardly travel.
Right.
And so it's like you just have to taking that perspective lens of saying, I did the best I could with what I had.
Right.
And when I came back, my husband was like, okay, cool. Now we're going to like get ready to go have kids. We'll move on. Like you'll be out of the military. We'll figure things out. And I'm like, well, whoa, wait. Like, I don't know what I want to do. And I think we both were on kind of some different pages. And that made it a little bit, having someone else in your life who can kind of see an outside perspective was very helpful. Because he's like, honey, I think, this has been really hard for you. You've struggled this past year. Do you know how hard it was in your body? My body was breaking down. Like I wasn't fueling enough properly. A lot of that stress and that control when I didn't have that with COVID, like everything was out of control. So I took in that control with the food I ate and the way I trained, but I also took that as a time to learn too about personal training, injuries, food. So during that time, I also was learning a lot about the way that I could train, which is now I'm using that with clients. But kind of after the Olympics, I tried to slow down a little bit to recover, get my cycle back, and things just weren't coming back as quickly as I thought they would with coming down a little bit, and my body started hurting even worse. And I think that was kind of a red flag of just saying like, it's time,
Yes.
like you need to move on.
Right.
Another Olympic cycle, as great as it is, like that's your body is more important and you
Yes.
need to prioritize that. You
That's
put
right.
it in the back seat for so long.
Come on.
And it was just, I mean, I guess having that background with Pilates and how much it helped me and all those people with personal training, PT, everything I had done, I was like, I can help other people with this. I can help other people that have struggled. And I already know that I have a passion for that. I like doing it. So I kind of, like athletes, we immerse ourselves in one thing, and then I just started immersing myself in the personal training certifications, the other certifications, looking for jobs. And then I decided I also wanted to stay in the National Guard. So even though I came off of active duty and came out of the world-class athlete program unit, I went into a medical unit with the National Guard.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, this will kind of allow me to stay a little bit with that military presence to see if this is something, at least like a little bit part-time, to see if this is something that I enjoy doing, I want to do. I'm also still helping people. So I kind of was like still treading the waters on what I wanted to do.
Right.
But I think now, after working with more clients, being able to diversify, getting certifications in yoga, running coaching, strength and conditioning, sports nutrition, learning more, it's allowed me to kind of like just be more confident in myself, a confidence that I don't know if I ever really had as an athlete. Like I had confidence as an athlete, but I feel like I'm able to start owning that more now.
I love that.
That I kind of have a little bit more control on what I want to do and who I work with things like that.
No, that's incredible.
So many nuggets here. I mean, it's brilliant.
I mean, honestly.
One of the greatest things I'm hearing you say is that you were able to identify when time was running out and when to pivot. When it comes down to your purpose, there are so many times athletes will just ignore the warning signs and keep pushing until they break. One of the major things that you said also was that you identified something was wrong. Your husband identified you can keep pushing, but something is going to happen if you keep doing something that your body is saying to stop, take a pause on. You've accomplished a lot. You know how many people feel like I've got to keep accomplishing. I've got to keep going. I see the red flags, but I'm going to keep going. And then they break and they fail, fail even worse than what they thought they were going to ride a high horse on. They're failing. And even more as a woman, as a female athlete, to honor your body and to know that there were different transitions and different phases where your body was speaking to you like, I can't go any further. Respect this because I want to take you on for life is huge. And I think as athletes, especially female athletes, we kind of silence so many things in the body and we kind of push things to the side and we'll be all right when it could have real damages and real situations later and results that we may not want to pay for. But I love that you were able to pivot that and you were able to say, okay, I'm going to not only enrich my mind, but I'm going to start using academic enrichment and also resources to help me build myself up this way, not even physically, so that I can help the other vessels that come to me for change and for help and for whatever their goals are, so that I can help them accomplish it with credibility.
That's right.
That's huge.
And that's the thing, you already put in the work.
Right.
That was the coolest thing. You recognize, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm a high level athlete.
Man.
I've done the military PT test. In fact, I'm going back to the National Guard. I'm staying active. Wait a second. I'm an expert. You see, I've put in years at this and I can help other people. That's what we want other people to understand. A lot of times, athletes especially, we get focused on it's about us.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Because it's our dreams, our goals, especially like, as you said, once you get a taste of it.
Yeah.
I made it to the highest level. So now I'm here.
Yeah.
So this is what I want. One of the things I want to honor in you is how you honored your husband, right? Because you made sure to mention that. You didn't have to say that.
Right.
You said we were on different pages there, but I was willing to hear someone else's perspective from the outside.
That's right.
And I think that's a great tip to point out. If you're one of our listeners and you're in the audience or you're listening on YouTube and watching or whatever, this is something to take advantage of. Yeah. You have to take moments to recognize that there are people in your circle who have a perspective that maybe you don't have, even if you're the best. Yeah. Even if you're at your best. Right. You need to have a group of people that can tell you something that you don't want to hear, but might actually be in your best interest. Yeah. Because you might not know that there's something that's greater than the identity that you're afraid of losing. There's greater on the other side of that, that you can give to other people so that they can find who they are. This is literally what you do. You help people rediscover themselves, redefine themselves, find themselves again, become one with themselves, become healthy. That's your mission.
That's right.
You transcended the image of the athlete.
That's right. Come on.
And so I had to honor you with that. I'm grateful that you allowed me to do that. So speak to that then. What does that mean for you? How did that feel once you recognized that you were more than just the athlete and that your life actually could make improvements in other people's lives?
Right.
I think it was very eye-opening because as an athlete, you really, like you said, you have to be selfish in a way of like, it's all about me. You kind of have to, for you to have that high level of success, you have to kind of put those blinders on. Yeah. Blinders. And I think that can really be unhealthy. Yeah. And I am just so blessed and I'm so grateful that I had a person that was there that could see what I was doing and could tell me, I think this is I don't think this is the right thing to do. Yeah. I think you need to take a step back. And that's why that support system, I am so great. There's no way I would have been able to get through COVID. Of course. Through missing the Olympic team in 2016. If I wouldn't have had my family and that support system, and I kind of want to slip in too, that's when I met my husband was right after I missed the team in Rio. Wow. And it was he saw me go through that and I needed a friend, and that's when I met him. And it was God just has a way of putting these people in your lives at the right time. That's right. But we can shut it out.
Come on, you better talk, girl. You were talking good. Come on, finish that. We can push that aside. Come on, keep going.
It's really easy to, like you said, ignore that pain in your knee or ignore that person's trying to come into your life for a reason. I think it's really easy to just say, no, I need to stay, and I think it's good to be focused and it's good to be driven on something, but there has to be a balance. That's and granted, I don't know if we'll ever have a balance, but figuring that, trying to work on that to make sure that we have, whether that's faith, relationships, your marriage, your friends, your mental and physical health, you all it all has to come together. And I think as an athlete, I did notice it was just it's all about how I perform and what I do. And seeing that I'm more than that. Come on. It's like a relief. It's oh my gosh, I don't have to perform. Yeah. I can get up at 5 to work out if I want. I don't have to do that. That's right. To be able to have more of that freedom and not all these expectations and be able to work with other people and just say, I've been through this, I've been through that, I've learned this, I've learned that, and almost help figure them out and work with them so that they can do something that they want to achieve. And it's because but I think I'm still finding that now. Of course, I'm still finding what my new goals are, my new dreams, what I want to do. Right. So I don't feel like it's I don't want to say I have it all figured out. I still struggle. I'm still having a hard time with kind of giving up that athlete, who I am as an athlete and transferring that. So I will say it's not, I don't feel like I'm there yet. And I'm still trying to find my way, find my own, build that confidence. But it's knowing that I've already done those things and working through that, working with a therapist, meeting amazing people like you guys, just I think it's just been, you have to find that network and find those things that allow you that room to succeed and to build.
That's right. Well, you say confidence quite a bit.
That's
and
right.
As a confidence coach and expert, it's so beautiful because I think you're walking in your strongest confidence now.
I was feeling it myself.
Even with ambiguity of how to really pivot after all these accomplishments and then holding on to the identity of an athlete, but then still pouring into other people's lives in fitness, wellness, and health. I mean, you're accomplishing almost greater being outside of the sport. That's right. Which is interesting because in 2016, when I had my therapist, she just exploded the blinders off of my life, exploded them. And it hurt so bad because I didn't understand that there were people waiting on me for help, literally for me to be a part of social units, to be a part of family reunions, to be a part of just living and being. And I wasn't able to contribute my time or allocate my time like that because I'm focused on training. Yeah. You have to train, you have to compete, you have to be the best, you have to try at least. And once those blinders were exploded, it felt very uncomfortable to feel, in a sense, naked without that covering of identity as an athlete, and just be a human and just be okay to work out at 5 p.m. or not work it out at all.
Which is always a tough one. Like, what do you mean? Yeah.
That's a tough area. But she helped me to understand who I am is not locked into my identity as an athlete.
That's right.
My purpose transcends that way beyond. And I started really learning that my greatest way of servitude was not really in athletics.
Man.
I really only just served myself. I really did.
And but there's a picture of what you were thinking to serve. Yeah. And don't mind me interrupting, but I think there's something to what she's saying and what you both, or what you're both saying actually, is that when you were an athlete, I'll put it in question form. Did you feel like you had the greatest impact as an athlete on the people around you, on the people you came in contact with? Or do you notice now, after athletics, that you're having a greater impact on the people you come in contact with, on the circles that you're a part of?
I would say, I feel like now I have a greater impact, more personally, because I feel like so many people see an Olympian and they're like, that's great. That's like so admirable. You work so hard, but they can't relate. They can't relate to that.
No connection whatsoever.
Nothing.
Yeah. It's hard for them because it's like, well, I can't, like, there's no way I could do all those sports or dedicate that much time or my body just like all these things. And so I definitely do think that it's kind of when you pull that, and also when you pull those blinders off too, it opens up. Like, that's right. I see so much more now. It's like, I see like the blossoms on the trees when it's like, it's just, there's so many more things I feel like I missed when I was competing all the time, or I was so immersed in like going to this practice and that practice. It was just like, life wasn't in color. It was just definitely like
black and
I wasn't
white.
Going through the motions, but I wasn't fully present in life. And now it's like you said,
that's right.
You can go to reunions, you can go to family events, you can travel to weddings if you need to, without feeling like pressure. Your coach is going to say, hey, like you can only be gone for so long, or be careful,
back to training.
Don't get hurt.
Like, don't get hurt.
Don't get hurt.
Wait, pause on that one.
True.
Don't get hurt used to be like the words that crippled my mind forever. It's like, okay, here I see like a paper.
When you get out of the bed,
over there,
don't put your feet down
watch
the floor
the curb,
without making sure you look.
Gotta compete. It's like everything was walking on eggshells, and for a long time I kind of feel like that actually it hurt in a sense, because you're like, I have to be careful. I can't even do what I want to do. I can't have fun the way I want to have fun because of fear of, right? And it was living in that bondage that made me feel so closed in. But then you kind of feel comfortable being closed in too as an athlete, because you're like, well, I'm excelling and I'm doing well. And it is a system. It is a really interesting system that maybe doesn't have enough holistic, I say, approach of support for athletes, which that will change, we hope. But even with what you were saying, I think about how you're able to serve people with such great magnitude now and fortitude. And when you think about the Olympics, and when you think about that level, that's only a small niche of people that can relate to that. So everybody else outside of that is like, okay, like, how can I relate to you? How can I even understand your journey? I can't even go walk around. I can't even get out of bed and just walk because of fear of this or weight loss or whatever the thing is. And when you mentioned that when you take the blinders off, it was like a whole world appeared. We have a family dog, and I love walking that dog outside. And it reminds me of, we used to serve on the track every day and did not take advantage of the weather, feeling appreciative that the clouds are blue and you have white and all the colors. And I see more outside of athletics than I ever did being on the track every single day of my life. And it kind of makes me sad, because it's like, how many times as athletes do we zone in so much that you miss a whole world? It's almost like a whole universe around you that's waiting on you to really be present in it, you know?
What you just said was actually accurate. It's like the world is happening around you, but you're not really a part of it.
That's right. That's right.
And so it's just a beautiful thing as athletes, as we sit here, business owners, as we sit here, people who are trying our best to impact other people's lives, that we're able to say we're doing that after having been in the institution.
Come on.
My uncle is military. He was a sergeant major in the Army. And it's kind of interesting because He told me one time, he said, Charles, you have to understand, every military person feels the same way because we've been institutionalized. He said there's really no difference in our mindset between people who are in prison and people who are, think about it. Because we are in a system that tells us when to get up, tells us what to do, our orders.
Structure.
It's all structured in such a way that we don't even realize that we're all in a prison, right? So I find it interesting because you're saying now there's freedom. That was the word that I heard you say the most. So in that freedom, let me ask you one overarching question. What now, as you're figuring out, you're aspiring for, what are you dreaming? If you had to say, I'm done with athletics in terms of me being active, but I want to accomplish something. Here's the things that's bouncing my mind. What is your higher aspiration now? Because people think that Olympics is the highest aspiration, but it's not.
Right.
What are you setting your aspirations on now?
Oh boy.
I know.
And this is something that I am working on because I feel like I have been struggling with kind of finding that bigger why. Because I do feel like, okay, I'm working with clients, I'm working at different places, different gyms, working for my own self. Right. And so I think that's a question that I'm still trying to answer, but I went back and I got my degree in business and was going to go into healthcare. Nursing at the time when I was going through college, because I did it online, wasn't an option. And so I've always kind of had that desire to want to help people. Right. And when I went back through some of my business plan stuff, it was to open a Pilates studio or a gym and have it be like a cafe, a health cafe. And it was interesting to kind of go back and see what that was, like going through some of my old journals. And so I think being able to impact people in a safe place that could actually be somewhere where they could get mental help, so like therapy, because I know there's so many different treatments that could, whether that's therapy, CBT, bioneurofeedback, but then also tie it into like the physical health aspect of things. It would be really awesome to have like a whole facility to be able to do that. And I know this is like way like big dreams and hopes.
No, that's what you should have, is big dreams and hopes. Say it. Right.
And then have like a cafe part of it with healthy food. Just like a place, I think, where people can get everything all in one place, or as much as they can in one place, and have a safe community. That's right. Building that community, because I think that was something as an individual athlete and training through COVID, it was so isolating. And I still think I'm trying to kind of find that, to build that community, and also for other people too, because I think that's, people are wanting to get out more and do more things. Right. And I've been on a couple of retreats and taught yoga and Pilates, and that's been really fun. So I think there's definitely a lot more that I could jump into with the health and wellness field. But I'm still figuring that out, and kind of what exactly I like. I don't know if I need to kind of hone it in or
listen.
Or
dream
what.
big.
That's right.
Dream big.
That's what
There's no box on that.
That's right.
When it comes to your heart and what your purpose to do, there is no box. There's no limitation there. And I'm proud of you, because what I'm hearing you say too is you want a comprehensive place of refuge for people.
That's exactly what
that
I heard.
is deep, and that comes from a place of void. So sometimes when we don't get things as athletes, business leaders, entrepreneurs, we want to make and create a space where people can feel that they're seen, heard, felt, loved, that they can go to an expert that has credibility, not holding on to their identity completely in athletics, but pouring into them and creating something where they can thrive.
That's right.
That is worth everything.
And
that's purpose. That's purpose. And it was always calling on you from the beginning. Always. I guarantee that feeling of wanting community, wanting to be a part, wanting to help and lift others up, that has always been in you. And now it's so beautiful that you're able to say, you know what? I'm going to dream bigger. I'm going to dare to dream bigger. And I'm not going to box it in. And if it happens, when it happens, it was worth it all. That's what you want to hope for. And that's what I hope our audience can understand too, is that in life, we know things happen, but here's the thing. If you feel that there's something in you that is asking you for more, asking you to aspire higher, trust that.
That's right.
Trust it.
Trust it and go.
Because trust me, there are people that are literally in line waiting for someone like you and you to give them the space where they can thrive, to give them the opportunity to be seen. And so that's why it's so important as athletes to do what you're doing, to dream.
That's right. And then do. You have the courage, you have the tenacity, you
of
have
course.
the audacity
That's right.
to believe that you can do it.
Come on.
So I'm going to challenge you. I hear that coach has already challenged you in her way. Do it.
Yeah.
You're not figuring it out.
Right.
You're trying to figure how.
That's right.
Just do. You know how to do.
That's right.
So I appreciate what you said to her. I appreciate your dreams, ma'am. Thank you for spending time with us because you gave so much wisdom.
Nugget.
You have to understand that because you taught from a place where, like you said earlier, people can relate.
That's right.
And they related to you,
That's
Sammy.
right. Authentically.
The beautiful part is, you were an accoladed athlete, but you are an incredible woman, person
absolutely.
that people are going to listen. I don't know if you heard of this, The Field of Dreams, the old movie. You remember the famous quote from that movie where it said, if you build it, they will come. There are people that are literally already waiting in line to be a part of what you're building. It just takes you to do
it. Yeah. And we support you.
And I think I want to kind of add something onto that because another quote that I feel it would have been, I always say, like, I wish I would have said this to myself as a younger athlete, is comparison is the thief of joy.
Of course.
And especially now with social media, it's like, oh, well, I don't know if I can post that because like this person does it all perfectly and this and that and I can't do. And I'm working through that right now of like trying not to compare myself to someone who may have been doing this profession for years and has like, knows what they're doing more than I do, I guess, or feels that way. But it's like, I'm comparing myself again. And I did that as an athlete and that didn't serve me. And it took away from that joy. It took away from the success that I was making. And so like, that's something that I'm really working on is just trying to be, I don't want to put the blinders on, but I also want to not worry so much about what other people think or what other people are doing. It's like, what do I want? And I think that's so good to work with people and what you guys are doing on like getting people to answer these hard questions on like, what are your goals? What do you want? People actually asking you and digging in to be like, what's your why? Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you show up to this job or to the gym or whatever you're doing? So I think that that's really important. And that's something that I'm still continuously working on. And I think we're always a work in progress. And that's knowing that it's never going to be perfect. It's always, it's a non-linear,
curves
non-linear journey.
Listen, I want to encourage you before we go, and I know it's going to encourage our listener and viewers, but specifically it's for you. This is kind of like a little mini coaching session. I'm going to give it to you really fast, all right, before you go, but I'm going to say it very simply. You said that you're comparing yourself. I want to tell you something. One of my mottos is the term no comparison, but you have to see it visually. It's not just as simple as, okay, I can't compare myself. That's not the issue. What you're missing is that no one can compare to you.
Come on, flip it.
You completely forget that there's an audience that only you will reach. The people that you're comparing yourself to, none of them went to the Olympics. None of them have medals from the Pan American Games. None of them have studied in the field that you have. None of them have had the tenacity and the daring to go into the military and do military boot camp and finish, complete it, not quit, do the whole process, and then go back for more. You are built for this. What you also have to do, and this is for anyone listening, I hope that you take it because you also need this, Sam, is that there is things that you can do that no one else can do. The post that you're afraid to make is the post that the people you're comparing yourself to, if they saw it, would be like, how can I compete with that? We always elevate the other people because we see their platform and not the person. When there are other people looking at you saying, dang, if this person ever gets it together, she's going to have a huge platform. I gave you that as your coach for the moment, okay?
Thank you.
But you have to own those words. Because the one thing I'll tell you between Yvana and myself is we understand words are only as powerful as the actions we commit to them.
That's right.
So now that you've heard that, I'm daring you to defy the odds. I'm daring you to defy your own mentality. I'm daring you to do it afraid, as we always say,
right now.
and do it right now.
Yes.
Do it right now.
Hear
Yes.
me in your
Yes.
head
Mhm.
and know that we are here for you.
Yeah.
This is what we do and why we do it.
Yes.
You can do anything because you're already capable of doing it.
That's right.
So do it.
That's it.
All right.
Sponsorship by Nike.
Can I get like a recording of that like
Yes.
every
Oh,
day
yes.
as I wake up?
You're
You'll
gonna,
have it. We'll
you're-
send
we're
it to
gonna
you.
send you the whole show. You can just cut that snippet.
Just cut it. Keep
we'll
playing
probably
it.
make it a post ourselves, but sincerely, ma'am.
Because that positive self-talk, we are so negative to ourselves sometimes,
right,
and it's
that's right.
like, I think you know that it's like we have to believe in ourselves so much, and so thank you. I appreciate those words, and the little. I always say, even a coach needs a coach.
That's
always.
100% true.
Always.
That's
So
right.
Your coach. Yes.
You always do.
Yes.
Well, anyway.
Honored. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us. We have
Sammy.
Samantha in the house.
Thank you.
So appreciative. And listen,
Where can
audience,
people
if
find her?
you, Yeah, first of all, where can people find you? Let them know.
So you can follow me on Instagram on Samantha A USA.
Yes.
I have everything linked there. I have a tap link so you can go and check out some of my Pilates classes, personal training. I do teach online classes.
All
so
right now.
wherever you're at, you can reach me. And
Remotes. Love
yeah.
that. I love it. Charles, you gonna do Pilates?
I
knew that.
I might, because it's Samantha. I might do one day with her.
Did you say yes? Do I hear a
What I
challenge? Am I a
said was-
witness? I'm a witness.
I said I might.
I can't wait. All right,
You can
coach.
try anything once.
You know
Yeah.
what? I don't want to end up like the memes I've been seeing on social media. The guys trying to demonstrate Pilates and the thing just flips their whole body in half, or like, and the thing snaps and hits them in the face. That might be me.
That's a little bit much. Forget the apparatus. We don't need the equipment.
Yeah,
You'll be all right.
we'll keep it basic.
Okay,
Thank you,
all
thank
right,
you,
now I
thank
feel
you.
better.
See,
All right,
athletes always trying to go hard. Like
Well,
what?
I mean, it's go hard or don't go at all. That's the way.
Don't go. Anyway, thank
All
you
right.
guys for tuning in.
Yep.
Please like, subscribe,
Hit that
share
subscribe button.
this session, this podcast. It was awesome.
It was
Thank
almost
you
a
so much,
session, wasn't
Samantha.
it?
It was. It felt like a session. That's why I said that. A session. But no, it's an honor to have you. Thank you again for your time, your wisdom, and for making it through, because you helped somebody,
Yeah.
and we appreciate that. And if Samantha helped you, better DM her and let
That's
her
right.
know.
And
Write
let us know in the comments.
Let us know on this YouTube video, and even on Spotify, wherever you're listening, Apple Podcasts, wherever you are listening. Let us know if this is helpful and beneficial towards you. So we thank you so much, Samantha. Thank you
Thank you for your
again,
time.
and it's been an honor.